Hey, Shalom, welcome to Rakam Makapashim Jim Islamic, giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Chachadash. Want to give double honors unto the elders, the apostles of GMS, and Shalom out there to the hopeful elect, pushing this truth in all sincerity. Yeah, it's back again with another video. Got another article here. There's been a lot of talks about cyber warfare, of late. Certain brothers got some inside information with certain these companies, man. They're scared. Running around like headless chickens right now, worried about cyber attacks affecting, the banks and the systems and all that kind of stuff. And, they're preparing for a potential cyber attack, right? Because, this whole Ukraine-Russia thing going on, right? They've been conducting cyber warfare, cyber attacks against one another. And there's the potential for it to go outside of Ukraine and Russia, which I believe it already has to some degree, but they're preparing themselves currently for mass attacks, okay, here in Europe, America as well, man, because at the end of the day they're the ones placing sanctions on Russia, man. So it's quite possible that Russia will also launch cyber attacks against these other nations also, man, and really f up the system. Now, the potential's there, obviously, and are the elites going to use this whole Ukraine-Russia thing, man, to really crash these systems down, man, so they can bring in a new one, to kind of accelerate the MOTB being introduced into society, on a mass scale. Okay, is this what this is this war, if you want to call it that, this little war that's going on, right? Is this what it's about? So we, like I said, we always we sit and watch, and we try and filter things through the scriptures and that, try and see what the play the elites are trying to do, man, because we know certain prophecies got to come to pass, man. So they have to have a method of coming to pass, right? So the elites have got in their minds things that they plan to do to bring about their new system. All right, so they use things like this to be able to do that. All right, so I just wanted to read, with this article. I just grab a couple of scriptures. I'm not going to make this one long. All right, but it says here, is the cyber war coming, or is it already here? So Russia's history of destructive cyber attacks in Ukraine is raising concerns about cyber warfare in the future. All right, it says that as Russia tanks rolled into Ukraine and its missiles struck targets across the country, its hackers launched waves of cyber attacks in the weeks and days leading up to the Russian invasion. All right, I'm going to jump down a bit. Right, it says now the question for some is whether Russia will turn its cyber weapons toward the US and how the US would respond. Right, because like I said, these guys, they're placing sanctions on Russia, basically trying to cripple them. Right, so why wouldn't Russia launch cyber attacks against these other nations that are trying to cripple them? They're going to want to try and cripple them back, okay, without going to that large conventional warfare, man. The whole the whole nukem and dukem, before it goes there, because it ain't time for that. Okay, but what does need to happen is that, the framework for MOTB needs to be laid out, right? So if this system crashes or is crashed, and there's a hurry to introduce a new one, right? Then, quite possibly, or Esau might use that. We have to wait and see, right? This is according to President Biden. Biden's address on Thursday afternoon, the US can and will launch cyber attacks on Russia, but only if Russia attacks the US first. Okay, so like I said, America, Europe, they've already attacked Russia with these sanctions, right? So technically, for Russia to do something against them, this is probably what they would do, right? Launch a cyber attack. It says if Russia pursues cyber attacks against our companies, our critical infrastructure, we're prepared to respond. So Biden said, adding that the government has been working with the private sector for months. Okay, so they've been preparing for this for months, right? to prepare for Russian cyber attacks and responses to them. Okay, and I'm assuming the same things is going on here in the UK, right? Like I said, a bit of inside information. A lot of these companies, man, they're worried, right? Because they think it's going to happen. They're essentially being told that to expect one. You know. What I want to get is this bit here, right? It says, while a Russian cyber attack on Ukraine's infrastructure is very possible, it has happened before, it is less clear that this will happen to the US. While many countries have cyber weapons, few admit to using them, the US included. America is believed to be the most powerful country in the world in terms of cyber capabilities, but for the most part, it keeps its capabilities top secret, though it has acknowledged that they exist. While we know the US has cyber weapons, we know far less about what they are, what they have access to, and what kind of damage they can do if deployed as a weapon of war. Nation states, including the United States, engage in intelligence gathering operations in cyberspace, but no one has declared that activity an all-out cyber war. James Turgle, Vice President of Cyber Strategy, World Relations, blah, 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 blah. However, we are in a new era with the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Experts say the US has almost certainly prepared for the increased chance of a cyber attack from Russia. All right. There's a little bit more I wanted to grab. Yeah. So in reality, it would be a surprise if the US defense postures weren't already in place. A data security software company said the government has in all likelihood deployed their defense mechanisms. George Pereira, the Associate Director of Cybersecurity Law at St. Thomas University, blah, 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 said that a cyber attack from Russia would likely target critical infrastructure and, if successful, could be devastating. Right? And, they spoke about these things before, what the impact could be. So is it time? Is it that time to really put these people in a world of pain? Right? To make them succumb to the crazy, drastic, draconian, things that Esau's gonna try and implement. Is it gonna be like the straw that broke the camel's back, man? We just come out of I say come out, maybe on the tail end, maybe of this whole CV issued pestilences that we've been, the world's been dealing with, right? They say it's winding down, right? But that don't mean it can't come back or it won't come back. Hong Kong are dealing with a case. They're locking down again. So, we'll see. But will this be what they use to, push it beyond, right? Because they really test run this whole CV, man, and had people jumping through hoops just to go places, outside the house and all this kind of madness, right? So, what about this now? Canada doing some crazy stuff. Bringing in new legislations for universal basic income. And there's gonna be stipulations, man. There's gonna be stipulations for all these things, man. And like I said, all this that's happening right now, it's a cumulative attack on the people, right? To make them break. But anyway, right, it says potentially, so you could lose clean water, electricity, financial markets, to name a few. Pereira explained. Importantly, he added that the likelihood of a successful attack on the US was minimal thanks to the US defensive capabilities, because they're great, right? And the world's greatest, right? But some warned that the private sector, especially, may not be sufficiently prepared, even as many companies have scrambled in recent years to better protect against cyber attacks. All right. And that's all I'm going to get on this, Like I said, this is from Vox, right? If you want to read it, just type it up, right? But yeah, could this be something they use to create this situation, This is from Micah chapter 2 verse 1. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds, right? They've been putting a scheme in, to bring about their new world order for many years, right? Many years, right? So, they know the steps to creating it, right? So, and all these things, war is a theater for them. They orchestrate these things, create these scenarios and situations that rise up, and you think it's all organic. You think it just happened naturally, and no, the elites Esau, they're orchestrating it. Ultimately, the Most High is moving their hand to do this, right? It says when the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hands. So they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage, right? So even applying it to now, like Esau looking to take everything, man, and reduce you down to a base level, man. And he's gonna, reap everything from the situation, right? I'm gonna quote it again. We've been quoting it, right? That you own nothing and be happy, right? Them man are quoting that, right? So, they're using these instances or these situations, these crises, right, in order to do all that, right? And they need the system to collapse, right? There will be a collapse, right? And so it may be that they just use this situation to do that, all right? Until you're begging them, for salvation, essentially, right? To put things right, right? And in that case, they can get you to take the MLTB, right? And it's the same scenario that kind of played out in Egypt, back then when the Lord delivered the Israelites us out of captivity. So like that's not even what I meant to say. Right, but this same scenario here I'm about to read, was in the time of Egypt in the Great Famine. And basically people succumbed to the hurt they were receiving, man, because they needed to eat. And the only thing they had at the end of it was themselves to give over to Egypt, to Joseph, to receive bread, right? So I said this time people have been going through hurt with the whole CV, right? And it's like we continue, you're gonna move from one thing into another, and now we're in another phase, another stage of it, and you're gonna experience more hurt, more hurt, more different hurt, things prices are skyrocketing. Well, that's only going to increase now. Everything's a problem now. Everything's an increasing problem, and it's ever increasing. Right, your bills, right, problems with the food chain, right, and if they do cyber attacks, man, that's damn for sure. That's going to disrupt all of that, like big time. All right, so all these things they're going to come in short supply. They're going to be costly. Your day to day is not going to be pleasant. It's going to be hard, right? But anyway, let me read this now, right? This is from Genesis 47, verse 18. You can read up above a little bit, but I'll just get to the point. So when that year was ended, they came unto him the second year and said unto him, we will not hide it from my Lord how that our money is spent. Now, if the financial system collapses and everyone's bank account goes to zero, that's your money gone. It's spent, right? You have no funds. Got no funds. Your dollars, your pounds, they're gone. Can't run on the bank. Ain't giving that no money, man. You can't do nothing at that moment in time, right? So your money's gonna be spent, right? So my Lord also have our herds of cattle. Now a lot of people are gonna default on their mortgages and stuff like BlackRock gonna come in and swoop it up, right? All these men are gonna be ready to take it off you, man. When you default. All right, so you ain't gonna have no property because we don't have lands, we don't have cattle, unless you're a farmer, you might have some of that, but for the most part, people ain't got that stuff. Some people might have houses, like I said, but you're gonna find BlackRock knocking on your door, taking your repossessing your property. All right, this is It says, there is aught left in the sight of my Lord but our bodies and our land. So wherefore shall we die before thine eyes, both we and our land? Okay, you're gonna get more stimulus coming. Okay, they're gonna bring something to keep you going, some sort of sustenance, right? That's what they're gonna give you or promise you, right? And there will be a way to deliver that to you, right? That's why there's all this talk about the the universal basic income, all this type of stuff here. Trying to be doing all that social credit score system and that. So they'll be case by case, basically, identifying you and all this kind of stuff and what you can and cannot receive and whatever. But the delivery system, how's it going to operate? Well, this is where the whole MOTB comes in, man. All right. It says, wherefore shall we die before thine eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants unto Pharaoh, and give us seed, that we may live and not die, that the land be not desolate. All right. So you're going to end up begging these governments to assist you, to help you. Okay, just like, here we had Rishi Sunak, the chancellor, right? He was giving out all this free money. Biden's administration giving out all this free money. Well, guess what? All that's had an effect on inflation. It's made your dollars, your pounds worth less, right? And you're gonna keep doing that, right? So, like I said, any way you slice it, it's gonna weaken the system. Like I said, and a new one has to be put in place. So that whole universal basic income ain't gonna be dollars and pounds. It's gonna be digitized, so it can work with the new tech, new system, right? This is Isaiah 30 verse 2 says, something 1. It says, woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel but not of me, and that cover with a covering but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Okay, you trust in this system. You trust in Esau. Okay, your ruler, right? You trust in him. So when this whole place goes down the pan, you ain't going to be looking for the Most High. Okay, you're going to be looking towards Esau. What's Esau going to do for me? How is Esau going to deliver me out of this situation? Okay, a lot of you people ain't going to turn to the Most High or Yahweh Shai. You're not going to do that. Really, ultimately, some of you might put up a few prayers and that, you Christians and whatever, calling on a God with a Greek name. But really, what you're really going to be looking at is, how is Esau going to help me? That's what you're going to be counting on, man. So you're going to trust Esau, you're going to trust Egypt, you're going to trust the system, right? It says, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame. Okay, anyone that trusts in Egypt or trusts in Esau, right, is going to reap shame unto themselves, right? And trust in the shadow of Egypt, your confusion, because you thought that this was the only way. This was the way. This is the way to get through it. That we just have to conform and bow down and take his mark. And you thought that was the way. You thought that was the way to secure your survival. To secure your safety. But you're gonna be left like, what the hell? Like, what's going on? I thought I was safe. Nah, none of you are safe, man. Okay, the only ones that are safe are those that trust in the Lord, right? That resist Esau at all costs, right? Only those are going to be protected in that day, man. Those that truly believe upon the Father and the Son, Yahweh Yahweh Shai, right? They're the only ones that are going to be protected in that time. All right, and this is what we keep, harping on about, man. Keep stressing. Right? It's important to know that the names of the Heavenly Father and His Son. 2 Ezra chapter 15 verse 19 says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Right? Great tribulation is coming. Time of Jacob's trouble. Okay, that's all coming, man. A time such as never been since there was a nation. Right? That is all coming. It's all, you know, gathering itself together to come to this point, man. All these things happen in the world, man. It's all to come to this point. All right, so like I said, we're just going to keep watching and see how this whole Russia-Ukraine thing goes on. We'll know what comes out of it, you know. But it ain't good news for the world, all right? The only ones that feel like it's good news is us. Because we're waiting for this world to be taken down, you know. So yeah, you're going to be, you know, suffering, man. All right, and I end it with this, man, because in that suffering, like I said, Esau's going to turn around to you and tell you, look, just take this mark, innit? You know, take this RFID chip. Okay, we're gonna you know, give you your credits, man. And you can you know, purchase certain things, you know, limited, you know, rationed. You can purchase certain things with these credits, you know, however he's gonna put it. But you're gonna require to have this as proof of your identification, right? Because that's what it's originally designed for anyway, right? But this is also what's gonna do the transacting, right? Plus other things, because you know what the RFID chip, what the NFC chip can do is you know, is many things, you know, can do many things, right? But anyway, this is Revelations 13 and 16, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. All right, and that no man might buy or sell. Okay, there's that transacting part. You ain't gonna be able to buy or do anything with that without having that. Okay, you know, brother recently put up that video with the woman that had that dream recently, and you know, she saw it in the dream. You know, you're gonna have to have that if you want if you want to receive of Esau, right? If he's promising you food or if he's promising you whatever, man, that you're gonna need that. Because if you don't, guess what? You're gonna be locked out. You're gonna be frozen out. You know. And then there's the question of, well, why don't you want it? What's wrong? What's wrong with you, man? And Esau gonna be looking at you sideways, man. You know, because he's not gonna be asking nicely. Eventually, right? He'll try and sell it to you first, of course, but when the time comes, man, and he's gonna be looking at you sideways like, what's wrong with you, man? You like an enemy, man, right? This is and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name, right? So, like I said, all these situations that are happening and are going to happen, man, is all going to lead to this point here, right? It's all going to lead to this point here, man, and people are going to have that decision to make. Okay, where they put their trust in, or who they put their trust in, Esau and the system, or Yahweh or Yahweh Shai, you know, and we're going to see. But like I said, we just watched this whole Ukraine thing, and you know, see the possibilities of what the elite, or what the Most High want the elite to do, you know, and you know, cyber attacks, you know, could be something that they use, man, to crash the system. Okay, it's possible, right? But anyway, with that, I hope this is an edifying video, and I'll catch you brothers and sisters on the next one, man. So till then, I'll say shalom.